Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy and I am going to be talking about pajamas or play clothes or, really fun things like that. And yes, I am in pajamas in this one because it's just that time of day. Well, actually, that's kind of what I wanted to address. Because I work at home and there is that whole, if you work at home, you should get dressed like you're going to a real job every day. Except for the fact that if I was working out of the house in an office, I would be wearing clothes that were appropriate to the environment that I was in. Like if I was going out and working in the garden, I'd put gardening clothes on. If I was painting, I would put painting clothes on. When I'm staying at home, I need a certain caliber of clothing because I am sitting differently. I need my clothing to be really durable because I'm doing things in it. I'm getting it dirty. I've got the animals that want to be on my lap. I've got, I'm not going to wear things that are just not really suited for the sorts of things I do in the house, at the house. And so if you follow me on Instagram, this fabric, you'll have seen that I had done an experiment with tea dyeing. Can you even see how the difference here? With tea and coffee dyeing swatches to sort of take the edge off of this amazingly obnoxious orange color. And they worked fairly well. Like it did actually take enough of the color out of it. Yeah, you can see it better here. You see it is quite sheer. But I had wanted to make a sort of a summer caftan sort of event. This is my original fabric, undyed, just washed in the boiling water with the same treatment, or at the same temperatures that this was as a control. And then these were the coffee and tea, which I find to be quite interesting because I think the tea made a darker swatch, but the coffee took up better on the embroidery, which I find a little bit strange, but it worked. It worked well enough to push it back into the realm of something that I can wear a lot of it without looking like a road cone. Which, actually, this bag here is like construction orange. So, I mean, to give you an idea of, it's not really like day glow orange, but it's pretty fucking bright. But yeah, so this would be something that I would wear around the house when this is one of those garments that if it's too hot to wear clothes, but it's too hot to be naked too. We get quite a lot of that here in Auckland because it can get very humid in the summers. Although it is going into autumn here at the moment. So I am in need. I said last winter, I was like, I am needing to retire some of my pajamas because I've either worn them out or I have different needs here. I'm actually colder in the winters here than I was when I lived in Alaska because it's really damp here and the damp gets to me. And when I get cold, when I'm like in the climate here, I can't warm up. In Alaska, it's really dry. I mean, yes, it can be windy, but it's so dry there that like you can wear t-shirts and shorts outside to go get the mail in the middle of winter and just be like, oh, that's kind of cold. But if there's not a lot of wind, you come back inside, you warm up, you're fine. It's very forgiving for some place that, I mean, I remember waiting out of the bus stop when I was in high school, and there were like minus 70 degree wind chill. It was probably only like minus 30 or something like that Fahrenheit. But yeah, I mean, like with the wind chill, it was ridiculously cold. That's probably the coldest it's ever been while I've been outside that I've had confirmed with, that I've had some kind of confirmation for. But yes, so like I've been sort of digging through my stash, and now that the weather has turned cold again, which it seems to have done all at once, I realized that it is time to start making more pajamas or more around the house clothes. Now these are generally clothes that I don't, okay, look, this is wonderful. They're little frogs. It's flannel. It's nice. I have enough here to do a pair of pants if I want, pajama pants, or I may do some kind of a tunic with this with pockets because wonderful, like a little hoodie or something. I don't know yet, I haven't decided. Well, that's all on the floor now, that's okay. I have these owls. I don't actually have very much of this. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought it. There might be enough for pajama pants here, but I may have to actually like cut them out, but then put like the cuff and, you know, maybe about this much of the leg in as a separate piece, which would be fine. I wouldn't have any problems doing that. But I just don't quite have enough there. Same again with this, although this I think may have been the end of a bolt. It's sort of, this isn't actually, well, I want to say this isn't actually flannel. It's a homespun type material, but it is actually flannel. It's a flannel homespun, but it's not like one of those napped, like these ones are like napped fabric that have a, I don't know, it's like children's sleepwear stuff, so it's, you know, a certain type of thing, where this is actually like one of those nice, high quality, really fine flannels. Really like this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I may do like a little shirt out of this because there's not very much of this here, but I love it. I love the colors and it makes me happy. And it actually goes, this is one of my favorite like lightweight outer pajama cardigans. So it actually kind of goes pretty well with that, and that would make me pretty happy to run around in. So this day glow orange, I have scads of this. When I found it, I loved it so much that I bought the whole bolt, which it doesn't look like there's very much here because it is so sheer. But I have enough here to make like a full caftan, like long sleeve, you know, or not, or whatever. I've got enough here to do that. And then I probably have enough to make another, like a blousey shirt or something like that, and I would probably make pajama pants out of these, like probably little bloomers. Probably this wouldn't be, because this is the shearer stuff. They were in the stack of fabric when I pulled it out. This has little slubs going through it. It's basically eyelash yarn that's been woven into this, and I really like it, but some of the eyelash yarn is exactly the same shade of crazy. So I thought it would be really fun to have sort of some knee-length bloomery type things. I also have like lots of this, which I don't know if it shows up very well. Is actually all the stars are foiled and there's sort of a foil background to it. And it's just cotton. I think it may have actually been from the Christmas collection at Joann's when I was working there when I was 16 or 17. So it's quite old. I haven't used anything with it yet, but I've got 2 lengths that are more than enough to do pajama pants, so I don't know. I've got like various knits that are hanging around like this. This is very vintage. Like, this is from the era that this would have been popular in, so that's really exciting. Oh, speaking of vintage, this is just a big fabric show and tell with some like general plans thrown in. So I found this vintage. I don't know if these would have been curtains or what. This fabric makes me so happy, and it's not usually my colors. Like, I would probably make like a really pretty dress out of this, like a summer dress for going out in. I would probably get some kind of an eyelet underskirt for like a lace, because it's kind of sheer. It's much less sheer than the orange is, but it's still sheer enough that I would have to line the whole thing. But I think a little bit of eyelet down at the bottom would probably solve the sheerness problems. And yeah, I think these may have been curtains somewhere. And I love them. This is possibly one of my favorite fabrics that I have ever picked up thrifting. Period. I have more around here. Other things that are on the, like, let's make play clothes out of them. These are vintage ticking that are just fabulous. Like, they've got that, like, how do we get our brand new fabrics to be this color? Because nothing is ever this color, except for these things, which are fabulous. So I have those. I have, man, when I dumped everything off of here, it really sort of disrupted, like, what I was going to talk about. So another one of my my cold weather items that I am going to be making is this, so floor length maxi dress out of this knit. It's not a stretchy knit. I'm not really sure how this works. It is a knit fabric that is not stretchy. I'm not even sure what you would call that. So, I mean, I can pretty much just treat this like a woven, but it is a vaguely Asian print, and it has goldfish in it. And I just think, like for a floor-length maxi dress, with short sleeve, because I prefer short sleeves, like this one has short sleeves, because I'm often at home doing things where my arms need to be free, and when I want warmth, I just put on overlayers. And it's with the bulky fabrics that warm weather pajamas or cold weather pajamas require, it's just easier to have, you know, less bulk when you're bundling up. Like I would have this on and this on, and if I was cold, I would put my big fluffy pajama or my big robe over the top of all of it. You know, I think the point that I'm wanting to make here is that pajamas don't have to be boring. They don't have to be something that you schlump around in. I mean, of course they should be comfortable for that, and I do have a lot of my favorite clothing that has been downgraded to pajama status because it has bad holes, or it has, you know, it has something that is the matter with it. But, you know, at the end of the day, being able to have clothes that feel great to wear around the house, that are cute, that are fun, that are an expression of myself, that are maybe not something that I want to share with the world at large when I go out, I say, as I am showing you all of these things on YouTube on a global scale. But it matters, it really does. If I want to go out of the house and I want to present myself in a more professional manner, I'm not going to be wearing, you know, cheerful frog pajamas or, you know, bright foil green. I mean, it's just, these are not the clothes that are suited for that. And it occurred to me recently that I find myself in pajamas when I'm home a lot, not because like I'm schlumping about on purpose, but because I am just, they feel more like me than a lot of my going out clothes. And a lot of my going out clothes are just, they're not quite the right length or shape, or like they're too delicate for wearing at home around the animals, or I'm doing things where they might get stained, or, you know, I have a lot of that. And I do have some transitional clothing that I want to wear, but those are all my favorite pieces, and I don't want to wear them out, so because they are such a small part of my clothes. I have a lot of clothes that I really love that I just don't wear very often, and I have realized that there's a big need in my life to sort of pan that all down, because I have a lot of, I mean, like, these bins are completely full of fabric. Now, I do live action role playing, I make costumes, I make things like that all the time. So some of this is costumes, some of it's scraps for doll clothes making, some of it's quilting, like I've got a bin full of quilting fabrics down at the bottom. So, I mean, it's not all for clothes, but a lot of it is, and a lot of these things are pieces that I would love to have in my wardrobe right now, but I have no space. So realizing this the other day has made me sort of think about, like, what do I want? What do I want to put in the limited space that I have? And it's just like anything else, it's curation. Like, I have all these clothes that I really love and don't wear, and do I love them enough to be curating them and making space for them? And for some things the answer really is yes, and for some things the answer is no, really, no, it's not. And that's really good to know. It's really good to know. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this little pajama talk, and I will see you in the next one.